Hey Skipperlings, welcome to the Skip stream. It's your boss, Colin SkipperWing Bird. No, I'm kind of running a little late. I know the music's running a little loud too. But, yeah, there we go. Yeah, kind of had to eat dinner, had to finish up a sketch. Really important to me that my sketches and my Instagram profile stay really organized. It's really stupid, but I really care about this for some really stupid reason. So, yeah, running late, ate some dinner, but we're good. We're good to go. We're probably going to run for another hour after a stream, simply after one stream would normally end, just because, you know, this is a thing that we got to do. So, let's rock. Well, actually, before we start rocking out, first, we gotta, do all my social media stuff. So then, after that, we're gonna rock. Alright? Alright. See you in a little bit. Also, apparently M'Baku from Black Panther is a tag on Twitter. Awesome. Also, a thing just happened. Why did that just happen? Scarlett's hosting you with 3 viewers. Well, thanks for the host, Scarlett. I'll see you in like 3 minutes when I finish doing all the Twitter things. Alright, come on. But did I not feed you? I might have to feed the cat in a little bit. But, yeah, I'm still here. Alright, so there's Tumblr. I will have to handle it after stream, unfortunately. That sucks. I'll just have to leave that at that. Alright. So let's see. What are we working on tonight? Mooma the Troller writes, Skip, greetings, Skip. Hey, Mooma, welcome to the Skip stream. How are you doing tonight? What am I looking for? Oh, right. I gotta switch to the artist camera. And chatbot, why are you not online? Cat, why did you just lock yourself in the room? That was weird. Chatbot, you got all my music. Six days to go to get one more follower. Man, this is embarrassing. Well, in the meantime, while Chatbot's rising, let us get started on our doodle. The reason why we're waiting for Chatbot to get started is because Chatbot's got our music, so there is that. That layer. Let's see. What was the keyword for this? I forgot what the keyword for this was. Oh, joy, now Chatbot wants to update. That's great. It was discernment. That's what I called it. Alright. Bye, SkipperWing. Alright, let's go to one of my other playlists. Mostly because, as much as I love Tokyo Machine, I can do with some other music right now. So, let's see. Let's find some other music. Until we can get to the other stuff. Where's Planetary Pieces? Because Planetary Pieces has some of my favorite music. There we go. Let's do Planetary Pieces. Preferably not muted, because muted would suck. So we're going to start with the punchline first. Which is the Crimson Fly gets smacked in the face by something. And preferably Chatbot isn't Pomps. Again, doesn't really matter what I'm doing right now. so much as it matters that I get the sort of feeling that I want out of this. So we need to... I was gonna have to figure out how the Crimson Fly breathes, or with their face, and that's not gonna be fun. We're gonna flip that horizontally. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. Mostly because we want the Crimson Fly to be looking left and right. Left to right in accordance with stream direction. We're gonna pretend that that's what a mouse looks like for a hot minute, and then we're gonna go over that. Alright, guys, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna go feed the cat because he's looking particularly adorable right now. I don't want him to poop in my room either. So be right back. Come on, cat, don't be dumb. Come on, buddy. And we're back. Alright, streaming. Alright, let's get this party back on target. So previously on the Crimson Fly had lost control of their fly vibes. Now what was I going to do with that? Let's throw in another layer on top of this. Normally I'm not a fan of throwing in more layers. Apparently Photoshop's decided to stop working. Also, my headphones are being dumb, which is kind of dumb. So let's uncurl those really quickly. Good. There we go. Alright, let's throw in one more layer on top of this, because this is not clean enough for me to draw on top of. Actually, I think I can erase and fill on top of this. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, sure, we can leave this on for tonight. No, actually, we can't leave this on for tonight, because as much as I love this playlist, I also do like offering people the chance to do song requests. So let's put that on pause for a hot minute. Chatbot, you're good? Good. Let's put on some music. Oh, that's weird. Where's the music? Oh, come on, chatbot. You were doing good. Okay, fine. Well, until the chatbot decides to come back, we're just gonna have to have some regular music. If this knee is down here, then this knee would have to be down here. Which means that these shorts can't be as short as I'm drawing them. Which kind of sucks. Somebody's Facebooking me. Let's actually get this a little bit more up close and personal. It can't have mouth lines. Or they can't have mouth wrinkles, because that ages the character. That doesn't look like a mouth. That's a problem. Mumo writes, hey Skip, I'm curious. When you make a business card, does a professional have DeviantArt as one of your websites so employers know where to check out your work? That's a slightly loaded question. Because the deal with the thing is that really, it doesn't really matter what you put as your website. As long as it's somewhere where your stuff is very well organized and easy to find. For example, currently, I'd probably cite my Instagram as where I put most of my work. Simply because my Instagram is the best organized place that has a pretty good pool of where all my stuff is. And it's easy for employers to sort of search it out. To find my stuff, as opposed to directing them to my Wix, which I haven't updated in forever. So basically, it's wherever is the most, wherever is easiest, where you have most of your stuff, and the easiest place for people to find you. If DeviantArt's where you put most of your stuff, then DeviantArt's fine. But it's up to you. That being said, obviously, if the site, it also depends on the reputation of the site. For example, a reason not to use DeviantArt would probably be because there's a lot of adult content on DeviantArt, and if you are a more casual user of DeviantArt, you may have stuff in your favorites that you don't really want employers to be looking at. So, yeah. For example, or if you were an adult artist, then you're looking for work in the adult arts, then hey, maybe where you put your adult content might be a place for you to put your stuff. I don't know. But it really depends. Okay, there, we got some breathing faces. We don't want to imply the Crimson Fly has too much of a shoulder, so let's bring that down there. I'm glad this one's not really going to focus too much on backgrounds, because, oh boy. Oh boy indeed. And that's it for the thumbs. So let's turn down the opacities a little bit. 50%. Yeah, whatever. Turn down the fill to 50%. Lock that. Unlock that. Alright, so now we can get into some detail. Speaking of which, I should say, before I lose all this data, whoa, Dandy's reading with a party of 5. Thank you for the host. Also, Whimsy writes, hey. Dandy writes, it's a raid, but I don't have a raid call. LOL. So yeah, no, I guess it would be a Toby. Well, I guess it's a Tobin raid. I guess that's what you would call it. Also, thank you for the raid, and I hope I didn't have my nose so far down into my stream that I didn't see the raid call. But thank you for the raid. How was your stream, Dandy? Because that doesn't look right. You have this wrist coming up like that. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. Dandy writes, in the end, it was pretty dang good. Well, that's good, Dandy. Yeah, because I remember we were talking earlier. So I'm glad that the stream pulled out a win for you. That's good. Any good material that you can use for live streams on YouTube's? I really need to get the full license for this. Dandy writes, I certainly hope so. We shall see, though. So what's everybody up to now, then? I meant when you get it right the first try, because then you have to try and improve on it. It's like, no, there's not really much improving on that. Dandy writes, I'll link it to you elsewhere so you can listen to it when you're off stream, Skip. Awesome. Also, apparently Whimsy is relaxing after a non-necessarily long day. Oh, that sucks, Whimsy. Also found a song for your outros. Awesome. I thought you were gonna link me directly to the thing. And I was like, oh, I will check that out later. Again, here I pretty much nailed the face that I wanted, so it's not really that big of a shift. And again, I really hate it when I get it on the first try, more or less, because I don't really need to redraw it, but you gotta get it. That's a big head. Let's shrink it down to something a little bit more believable. I keep forgetting that Q is the quick mask tool in Photoshop and not the free transform. Alright, deselect. There we go. Oh wow, my toe is not supposed to do that. Boy. Keep forgetting that Photoshop CS6 does that thing, which is kind of irritating. So I'll zoom in actually. Yeah, no, we're not going to show the rest of the body underneath that. Bring it up just a, whoops, let's not bring everything up just a little bit, let's just bring that one bit just up a little bit. Alright, let's call that discernment. Whoa! Gabe's right. Gabe just subscribed with the 490 for 3 months in a row. Wow, can't believe it's been this long. Haha. No worry, Gabe's. It's all good. Thank you so much for the subscription. Subscription dance. We're gonna do the subscription dance to the Eggman song. Oh yeah. So yeah, thanks for the subscription. Ha! Ha! I see what you did there, Dandy. I'll have to use that. Alright, so let's save that. Let's pop into Adobe Animate. Let's import the file. Actually, let's rename everything that's named hyphen right now. Let's call that number 69. Ha 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 ha. Alright, close that out. This is a good pun that we will... I gotta say we'll never use again, but I will totally use that again. Alright, so let's go to the thumbnail. Let's go File, Import to Library. Pre-production, sketch, work file. Let's rename that. Let's go to 69. Delete that. 01. And now let's save that. So unfortunately, I actually made the mistake of saving this as a .fla file, which is a big no-no because now it thinks it's a Flash file when it's really not. So let's delete that. Now let's import that. Import the files we need. Now you can't import it directly from the library, so you have to move it where it needs to be. Like that. It's just slowly de-escalating, so we're going to have those panels de-escalate with it. Let's move those over slightly. So Gabe, what are you up to tonight? Let's lock the thumbnail so I don't accidentally break that apart because I don't need to. Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that. Or not delete that. Convert to... Let's copy these layers. Dandy writes, yeah, Gabe, why aren't you in voice chat? Am I not in voice chat? I am in voice chat. Oh, I guess Danny's asking why you're not in voice chat. See, people like hearing your voice, Gabes. Of course, that question could also be applied to you too, Dandy. Although I know you just got off a stream, so there's a good reason why not there. But... Copy that. Danny writes, nope, I'm doing wife stuff. Also, Gabe's was right. I was playing a game, but I can get in voice chat if y'all want me to. +5 wife points. Fair enough, Dandy, fair enough. But yes, Gabe, you should totally jump in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. I convert this to a symbol. Okay. Copy that. If I somehow get this done in an hour, I'm gonna laugh. Apparently somebody wants my affection. Hello. Hello?
Hello?
Yo!
Yo, sorry, my thing was muted.
It's all good. How are you doing tonight, Gabes?
I'm doing okay for the most part. How are you?
I'm doing better. I spent a good part of this afternoon arguing with a Facebook troll about the David Hogg thing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're gonna have to refresh me exactly.
So
I know the.
Remember the Florida shooting?
Yes. Okay. I just looked him up. Yeah.
So basically, there was this one student who, in the midst of all this, aspiring journalist, conducts interviews, like on-site interviews with his classmates as they are all hiding in a closet, hoping that the shooter doesn't come after them.
Right.
So immediately afterwards, all the students decide that they're going to become activists, gun control activists, and so he's prominent among them. Somebody notices that meanwhile in California, a video of him during the summer shows up with him in California. So the conspiracy theory is that he lives in California, and that CNN hired him to become a crisis actor.
Which is dumb.
Very stupid. So somebody was asking. So somebody was arguing with me earlier today. Well, isn't it? There's two sides to every story, and isn't it possible that he's a yeah, I know, that was my reaction too.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, let it out, because that was my reaction too.
No, I'm like a little bit gentle on like both sides like arguments, but that is no.
The truth doesn't have two sides.
Yeah, that's like if someone was like, "Hey, I think the world is flat," and someone else was like, "I think the world is round." And it's like, well, clearly, there's truth on both sides here.
It's like, but no.
No.
We have satellite proof. If you want, we can train you, we can strap you in a rocket, and we can send you up to see the moon yourself. And hopefully you'll stay there, because God knows we don't need you back on Earth.
That'd make like a really fun like movie. Like a flat earther gets like invited to go on an NASA trip, and he like goes up into space like, oh wait, no, the Earth isn't flat. So then he goes to try to convince his friends, but they all don't believe him.
Well, to be fair, that is basically Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 2.
That's true. That is also like 90% of all Christian movies, except instead of seeing that the Earth is round, it's like finding God.
Yeah. So, like, after a while, I just like, okay, I've cited sources that prove that he wasn't there. I've debunked your argument several times over, and I've also, debunked your, oh look, I have a quote, therefore I am smart, thing. And I was just like, here's the thing, buddy. I have other things to do tonight, so I'm going to turn off notifications, but if you want, you can have the last word if it makes you feel good. But, and that's literally what happened, because, like, what happens on Facebook now is that if the person tags your name, then you get a notification. But I'm just pretending I haven't seen the notification, because I'm just like, I don't have to deal with your brand. I don't need to deal with your brand of stupid tonight.
Right.
So that was fun.
No, I saw another one related to that guy. Actually popped up on my wall, and they're like, "Hey, if you look at this one, like screenshot from his CNN interview, he's wearing an earpiece. Is he being fed lines?" I'm like, guys, no. When you get interviewed on the news,
they give you a microphone and an earpiece. So that way you can, everybody can properly monitor, like understand what everybody else is saying and monitor the interview. He's not being fed. What? No.
And then the funny thing is that when, not to get too political, but then when Trump went to meet with the survivors, he did actually not have an earpiece, but he had printed questions of what to say.
Well, because our orange in chief is not the most mentally stable person in the world, no matter what his personal physician says. I'm like, since when did the truth have two sides?
Yeah, that's really weird. I've been trying not to get in Facebook arguments, but it's getting really hard to.
Well, because the issue is just that, like, here's the thing. There is a gun rights conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of the NRA to sell you more guns.
Yeah.
They just want you to buy more guns and be safe to sell you more guns.
And the thing is, like, I'm willing to actually, like, have a debate about gun control, like, gun issues, like, various different, like, rules and regulations and stuff like that. Like, I'm actually, like, if you want to come up and have a serious debate of, like, okay, well, maybe we should consider this and this, like, I'm willing to do that, but a lot of it is just, like, hey, you know, maybe we should do something about the amount of people that can get a hold of guns, and, like, but what about cars? Like, you can't ban guns. I'm like, what if we maybe, like, no! You know what I mean, kind of?
Yeah!
It's not like trying to argue with someone who, like, wants to negotiate with you or, like, try to, like, meet in the middle of, like, well, hey, maybe, you know, maybe we shouldn't ban all of these, but you know what I mean?
Well, it's like, I don't need an assault rifle. I'm not going out to go kill my neighbors. Like, I'm totally fine with the whole idea of people owning their own weapons, as insane as that is. But, like, we don't need, like the problem with American discourse is that, like, the right has been so uncompromising, and yes, it very much is the right, has been so uncompromising that, like, the center is actually a little bit slightly to the right.
Yeah, that's about fair, especially for American politics.
Whereas, like, because, I mean, like, let's face it, every time we rag on the left, it's usually for capitulating to the right.
Right.
But, it's just, it's mind-boggling. And the guy was just like, no disrespect meant, I just want to have a civil conversation. I'm like, nope, I'm just arguing, like, 5 steps ahead of you, and you can't even, you are so 8th grade debate club that you can't even see that you sound like a moron.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to just, like, rant about Facebook arguments I've had, but I got in one last week that was just, like, really heated, and I kept trying to just, like, explain to the person, it's like, okay, no, like, how can you not see that we at least, because it's one thing to, like, debate various ways to solve an issue, it's one to just try to get the other side to acknowledge that there's an issue.
Oh god, that is so much a problem. Well, the problem is that, like, winning the argument doesn't actually involve being right. That's the problem.
Right.
Like, that's why I told the guy, oh, Quarky writes, hey yo, guess who? Yeah, that doesn't work as well as hey yo, potato. Sorry, Quarky. But, like, that's why I said, hey, buddy, screw you, I'm out, SkipperWing out. Because I was just like, I totally get I totally get that you're not actually trying to have a debate. You just want to argue words. So, I'm just like, hey, guess what? Here's the ultimate screw you in a form that you can't really come back from unless I respond to you. So, right. And then that's how I win the argument. Unfortunately, it involves rage quitting the argument, but it pretty much it still wins the argument.
Yeah, there was one really fun moment. Not to, like, I don't want to bring up, like, drama, but it was pretty funny because, you know, it was, like, pretty much that standard, like, well, hey, why don't we talk about banning knives then? And I was like, hey, knives don't cause as many issues or as fatalities as guns do. And then the response was, okay, well, what about bombs, huh?
Those are actually illegal.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Bombs are dangerous. We should ban bombs. I don't want people to have bombs. What's your point?
Yeah, and also, bombs are actually illegal. You can't have them.
Yeah, it's like, use knives or cars, because sure, people use them. It's like, I've never, I don't work construction or, mines. I don't need bombs.
Well, not only that, but, the argument, Best writes, do you have an active chat now? Jeez, how long have I been lurking? You've been lurking forever, Best. You always are lurking forever, which I really greatly appreciate. Also, Quarky writes, I'll stick with potatoes. Thank you, Quarky. Also, I'm stealing that from you. But, the whole argument of, oh, but if we need the guns in case the U.S. military comes after us, I'm like, no. You do realize they're going to nuke you. They're not even don't have to nuke you. You know the drone strikes that we gave Obama so much grief for? They're going to use them on you. They don't have to leave they don't even have to leave the barracks.
Yeah, and I even had a similar sort of point, not against oh, I need it in case the government regime comes in. But another thing you kind of hear is well, I don't want to give up my guns or something like that, because then only criminals will have them, and then if I'm ever in a shooting situation, I won't be able to fight back. And it's okay, but unless you're just carrying around a giant assault rifle all times,
you're not ever safe.
Yeah, and it's even if you had a gun on you in the Florida incident, it's it would probably be something you're just concealed carrying, so a handgun. It's do you think that's gonna put up much of a fight against an AR-15?
Well, and there's the other rub. Also, Best writes, I was a mummy in the 8th century and came out of my sarcophagus in the 21st century. Ooh. That is freaky. Well, and also, here's the other thing. It's because for me, whenever there's somebody says, arm the teachers, you guys can see my face. Is this the face of a person that you want having guns? And it's not even a racial component to this. I don't want a gun. I do not want a gun in my house. Not with my 5-year-old niece in this house. I don't want it in the faculty room or in the faculty lounge. I don't want to have to ever get training for that, because I don't want to be the person who accidentally shoots a student.
Yeah, so here's the thing about the way I've always felt about that, because I actually had a history teacher, and this was kind of right after Sandy Hook. I was in high school. And I had a history teacher, great teacher, lovable man. I love this dude to death. But for some reason, he had a taser in his classroom.
What?
Yeah, he had a taser. I'm not sure why. I think he never really used it for anything. I think he just had it. And one day, one of the students snuck up behind him, decided to pull a prank on him by taking the taser and tasing him in the back.
Oh God! What? Well, you said
he just had the taser sitting on his desk.
Because it was high school.
Yeah. So this was right after Sandy Hook. So whenever people would say we should arm the teachers, I'm thinking, yeah, let's not.
There's so many ways that can go horribly, horribly wrong. To say nothing of the fact that, for me, I am an adjunct professor. For those who've never heard the term before, because, let's face it, neither had I before I got hired as one, adjunct is part-time.
Right.
I'm not getting if I don't get classes in a given quarter, I don't need a gun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I literally do not work that quarter. Also, are you going to pay me to learn how to use a gun? Because I'm not doing it if you're not paying me. Or rather, I'm not paying out of pocket to learn how to use a gun that I should hopefully never use.
In my high school, our teachers had to, ask students for paper at, the start of the school year. Because the school wouldn't give them paper. You have to pay me. You can't even pay me
a proper wage. And this is how bad that is. I had a coworker where he went to go look for another job because there was no possibility of improvement, like, or advancement in our current line of work. The only reason I can afford to work that job as a day job is because I live at home. And you're gonna pay for my rifle lessons, not my rifle lessons, my handgun lessons. And
you gonna pay for the handgun?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Well, not only that, but are you gonna pay for my soldier training too?
Yeah.
Because it's not just like learning how to use the gun. It's gonna be Why is this not working? Song request why? Whatever. I'll just put on another playlist then.
Don't you know that, like, in the event of, like, an active dangerous situation, a responsible gun owner will become John McClane?
And here's the fun thing about that. Not just John McClane, but also, like, Dirty Harry. He was the bad guy. Not the bad guy, but he was wrong. Bullet was wrong. Most of these guys turn out to be wrong.
Also, we're talking about, like, cops and, like, trained professionals here who are, like, that's their job.
And you want me to, it's like you want me to get a second job as a police officer.
By the way, have you ever played Gun Nut Bingo?
The one where they find all the excuses?
Well, it's less bingo and more just scavenger hunt. If you start arguing with someone about gun control, go through their profile and see how long it takes to find a Punisher image. Oh,
yeah. Well, actually, I think I was talking to Drastic about this. It's why I can't get into the Punisher. Like, the Punisher is too topical. In an inadvertent way, which I think actually speaks to the problem with modern American society. Like, even ignoring the whole idea of, like, okay, yeah, the Punisher is fictional, you're not supposed to identify with him. The fact that so many people do is scary. And, like, identify with him as a hero, that's disturbing. Because, like, the thing is, like you have somebody like the Las Vegas shooter. That's a page out of the Punisher's playbook. Get as many as your victims together as possible, and then shoot them up. Like, I'm sorry, I can't get into the Punisher knowing that.
Right. Yeah, like, the thing is, I'm not, like, the biggest Punisher fan. I really only know him from, like, his work with, like, Daredevil, like, in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked his arc in the show, but he's also framed very much as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is like, through pop culture osmosis, it's like, Punisher feels like, at least how he's transformed in the public eye, is like Batman for people that think Batman doesn't do enough.
Yeah, and that's terrifying because Batman's also, and this is me going into overthinking territory. Like, Batman's kind of problematic on his own.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there.
Where it's like, oh, a rich dude who goes out and beats up on poor people, because he thinks it's right. Like, I'm sorry, but ew, no.
Did you hear about, I can't remember if it came out, but I remember reading about it a few weeks ago. I think the alternate universe story that focused on Joker.
Oh, White Knight? Ew, that one's a mess too.
Yeah, I don't know if the actual thing was good. I just remember seeing the whole concept of, like, from Joker's perspective.
Yeah. Well, there's a few stories like that. There's Arkham Asylum. There's Brian Azzarello's Joker, which is also not very good. I find that, like, Joker is actually a very hard character to write for without, like, bleeding into look how edgy we can be with this character.
Yeah. Like,
but
I'm sorry, I love the New 52 run of Batman, like the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty great, but the Joker removed his face and put it back on.
Well, to be fair, that wasn't
their decision.
Yeah, they just ran with that.
No, I think another one that tried to do that, like, oh, Batman is just beating up mentally ill people, was, do you remember the Batman animated series episode. I think it was like the trial.
Oh yeah, but even that doesn't really go far enough because the problem is that we still want Batman to be our power fantasy, and we can't admit that
Right.
like wanting to beat up on people is still fundamentally like either in not self defense or in like without the justification of either self defense or sport, beating up on people is kind of wrong. Yes,
Right.
that includes the hypocrisy of drawing a superhero comic is not lost on me. It's why there's more than a few strips where the Crimson Fly is beating up on the wrong person or gets taken to task for beating up on somebody.
Right. Well, I think. Well, for one thing, the problem with the trial episode is that, with the exception of like that one lawyer, who was like totally anti-Batman, who was like supposed to represent him, like it's clear the entire episode that it's mostly just the villains messing with him, more than like making actual points. But I think the thing, and don't get me wrong, I love Batman. Like, I'm a total fan of the character. But I think the thing that kind of brings up the issues with Batman, and it's kind of why I always hate the darker, Frank Miller-esque versions of the character, is that they turn it less from, like, you're always going to have that superheroes beating up, criminals is kind of, like, not a good thing. Questionable thing.
2 seconds, Gabe. Whimsy writes, "I'm popping off early. See you guys later. Have a good stream." All right, Whimsy, you have a good evening. Actually, you're not really so much popping off early as like the stream started super late. But thank you for hanging out. You have a good evening.
Have a great evening. Take care.
So you were saying about the Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing you see a bit creep into, like, especially the Frank Miller's like Dark Knight Returns and kind of related works to that. The Arkham Knight, specifically that game, kind of has a bit of it.
Yeah.
And the Dark Knight trilogy kind of has it too. But it's like, it's not just like in the way Spider-Man might beat up criminals because they're committing, like, they're doing like something wrong. Batman, when writers take it to the extreme, it becomes like a holy crusade.
Yeah.
That's when things start getting really weird, and that's when you're like, oh.
Well, on the other,
I was like, I don't know if I like Batman kind of being a little bit fascist here.
Well, and there's the other issue of, like, when he started out, and when like a lot of superheroes start out, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's implied that they're doing the best they can with what they have. Whereas, like, like in Batman Begins, it's like, it really is that bad. But then that means that, like, Batman can never de-escalate.
Yeah.
Because, like, every new threat becomes, how come you didn't, like, a smaller threat basically becomes, how come you didn't use the nuclear option you created specifically for more severe situations? It becomes like the Straw Man's art version of the Hulkbuster suit, i.e., why doesn't Iron Man just wear the Hulkbuster 24/7?
Right.
Which, I mean, like, actually, Bob Vids has a pretty good answer about that, as basically saying, don't wear that all the time because, like, you can't. There's no finesse to the Hulkbuster suit. Either you're smashing Hulks or you're Iron Man. There is no in between.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of kind of the same reason why I like the stuff like the Iron Man armor never really bothered me. Is that you remember like in Dragon Ball Z how they have like that one form in the Cell Saga that's like, wow, this increases our strength like so much, but it's really, really slow.
Yep.
It's like, so this like gives me really no practical advantage unless I really need to punch something really hard.
So, yeah, like, you can't de-escalate Batman. And it's sort of this problem that we have with our sort of culture as a whole, is this whole idea of overwhelming shows of force.
Right.
Like, you're not a hero unless you can punch your enemies harder than they can hit you. Actually, Black Panther's a good example of this. Not in that he's in a bad example, but like the women of Black Panther are so important. And
so good.
And it's like, but like everybody's like, oh yeah, Team T'Challa, Team Killmonger, and it's like, hold the phone. The ladies have the middle ground.
Yeah. They're like the voice of reason, and they actually do help the other characters evolve and develop. And there's a reason why, like, it's important that Nakia and Shuri are in charge of the. I'm sorry. Are we allowed to spoil?
Not too much. Just like oh, you're talking about the thing at the very end. Yeah, we can't.
At the very end.
We can't talk about that.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, right? There's a reason why those two characters are the ones overseeing the project. Quirky says Team Shuri.
Oh, I got a picture for you, Quirky. Because actually, that was something that somebody asked me. Anea, I was on her stream. I was on her chat, and we were talking about this some Black Panther fan art that I did, and she's just like, "Yo, when you finish with BP, feel free to you got to do Shuri," and I'm like, "Of course I got to do Shuri." So that's for you guys. Did some Shuri fan art too, because Letitia Wright, she stole that movie and she ran away with it. She just took it and ran away with that.
I did not expect to like Shuri like nearly as much as I did.
I know, right?
Like, nothing against her, just like I didn't see that much about her character like going into it. Like all the focus was on like
T'Challa.
Killmonger and T'Challa, and maybe a bit of Nakia.
Well, and not so much even Nakia. It was more Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
I mean,
to be fair, we should always give attention to Lupita Nyong'o. Because...
Oh, of course. Well, actually, Denai Guerrera made a strong case for herself in that one too. Because oh my God, Okoye was the best. Like Okoye should have been the Black Panther.
Pretty much, yeah. I was really impressed. I always knew she was like a good actress, but I stopped watching Walking Dead before she got introduced to it. So it's like I didn't get to see much of her character beyond like little scenes here and there. But she killed it in Black Panther.
Yeah, and well, it's funny because like even Chadwick Boseman, like I think it speaks to the strength of that movie. That I think between him and Angela Bassett, I think they were the weakest parts of that movie. But I think that speaks more to the strength of that movie and its writing. Because he played a necessary role. He has to bounce off of everybody.
Right.
And he's not boring. Like his banter with everybody in the cast is so good.
Right.
I think actually him and Daniel Kaluuya got a little bit underserved.
Yeah. But like the thing is that even though they probably didn't get as much to do or like as much characterization as like the rest of the main cast, I think it just speaks to how good Black Panther's characterization is overall, that I think that they actually had stronger stuff here than in a lot of the other MCU movies.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. Well, because the problem with a lot of the other MCU stuff is that it's sort of struggling to be, how do we define ourselves in a post-Iron Man world as not being Iron Man?
Right.
Meanwhile, Quirky writes, the strongest of women, Okoye is who I aspire to be.
Me too, actually.
Either her or I forget who the Amazon from
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cool too.
Which I'm sorry, like it seems to be an underlying theme with movies. That might be my drawing for tomorrow. Is Wonder Woman, strong warrior women. Thor Ragnarok, strong warrior women. Black Panther, strong warrior women. Like
I think this is a sign of women being really strong warriors.
But also like emotionally strong too. And not strong as in demonstrative of traditionally masculine traits. Like a lot of them is basically, yo, compassion. We need it.
Right.
Cause like it wasn't just about like, oh hey, not only are we strong emotionally in that we are stick to our beliefs, i.e., I don't care if we're engaged. I will shank you if my king demands it.
Right.
But also, hey, I know, like, look, I miss our like, look, whoever's on the throne is on the throne, and I serve the throne, not the person on it.
Right.
So that's some powerful stuff. I can't say the other word, but I would like to use. But the problem is just the question is, will that stick in our popular conscious? Because the thing is, the other thing that like if you ever met me in real life, you'll know that I have no love for 90s bad boys. Like, as much as I appreciate Vegeta's character growth in Dragon Ball Z, I don't like Vegeta.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because Vegeta is basically, his entire role in Dragon Ball Z is to show up, Leroy Jenkins' way into trouble by being the macho Saiyan Prince dude, and then have the other characters have to bail him out. It's only when like his son is in danger of dying that he starts to think, you know, maybe this is not working.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, like you said, I really love Vegeta's character development. And I will say I do like the fact that he is like this chaotic figure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's hilarious to me, almost.
Oh, because it is!
But it's really funny when you, like, really look at it and go, Vegeta is responsible for every main villain in Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
Like, if Vegeta was written out of the story, obviously the Saiyan Saga wouldn't happen.
Well, it would have just been reduced to just Nappa. I mean, not Nappa,
yeah.
Raditz.
Yeah. Frieza wouldn't, like, know anything. He'd just keep on keeping on.
Mm-hmm.
Cell wouldn't achieve perfection. Plus everything else that Vegeta did.
Pretty much.
Who wouldn't have been summoned?
Yep. And the thing is that these make for great stories. But they don't make for the kind of people that you want to hang out with. Like, again,
right.
I think we've had this on stream. A lot of these sort of popular 90s characters, and it's really prevalent in the 90s, which is why I singled that decade out in particular. They're great characters to follow in terms of story, but they're not characters you'd want to hang out with. Like, yes, I would totally love to make fun of Leonardo with Raphael of the TMNT. But my best friend would probably be Leonardo because I could count on Leonardo to have my back.
Right, or it's like, Jotaro was cool, but you know, I'd probably rather hang out with Josuke.
Mm-hmm.
Or Kakyoin.
Mm-hmm. And it's just this, like, I don't mind them being people's favorite character. It's the idolization that bugs me.
Yeah.
Like I want to be like him. You want to be like the dude who blew himself up in a futile gesture to show he was still relevant.
Yeah.
He's like, you do you, buddy. And like the thing is that even for characters where it's like they're popular, but I'm like, you do realize that character's a loser, right? Like Han Solo is a loser. Sorry.
Right.
The only reason Han Solo is cool is because Harrison Ford is an amazing actor, and hopefully Alden Ehrenreich will be one. I mean, not hopefully, because he is. He wouldn't have been cast if he wasn't good at what he does. I really hate that argument that, oh, the actor is bad.
Right.
I've
seen. Did you ever see Hail Caesar? He was fantastic in Hail Caesar.
You tried to sell me on this, and I was just like, I have no TV time, so I'm just gonna trust you.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, I trust that he's going to be awesome, but the thing is that Han Solo is a loser.
Right.
He's not the person you want to idolize, and that's kind of the point of his character. But everyone's
I will say you can idolize his growth.
Yes.
Not his personality per se, but.
And even his growth kind of like takes a backseat when you find out that he kind of reverted on it after what happened with Ben. And to be fair, like that's I don't see anybody reacting any differently.
Yeah.
Like your son does that and is still around. Like it'd be one thing if Ben died and it allowed Leia Luke, Leia, and Han to move on from him, but he's still like tarnishing their good names.
Right.
So I can see why they reacted the way they did. But like,
oh, I was just gonna read one of the comments from chat.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong.
I just say Nialgas.
Nialgas said, interesting way of looking at characters. Doombot said, blasphemy. He did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, probably. How much do you want to bet that
we're gonna see that
Solo is gonna be? Guys, we have to do the Kessel Run.
Oh, you know it's gonna be in the movie, which I also have conflicted feelings about. Not the movie itself, but seeing the Kessel Run, because I kind of like either it lives up to the hype and you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing, or that's it. That's it, really. Like how the Clone Wars were not fought against the clones, but fought using the clones. So you see, it's still a Clone War. I'll see myself out.
That's the problem I have with just prequels in general. And why I think that it's better probably most of the time to not do prequels. Because the story you're going to come up with in your head is always going to be better than what you actually end up getting most of the time.
Pretty much. Like,
and I don't I don't mean that to be like mean or something like that, because there are prequels I do like. But it's like, it just, our imagination has our own way that we like to like think of stories and like look at stories. So when something comes out that says, well, actually, this thing that you thought happened this way happened this way.
Well, and it gets worse because we automatically have the benefit of hindsight the second that it comes out.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh, well, I would have done it. Like, the problems I have with Force Awakens, not Force Awakens, but like my problems that I have with the criticisms of Last Jedi. It's like, I wouldn't have made Luke run away. And it's like, you can say that now because you've seen the movie.
Right.
You can't say that having not known what was going to go into it in the first place.
Right. And I think a part of it also just, then you start getting into argument of like fan service and stuff like that. But I remember, like, especially when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out. And like that, since that was like advertised like, ooh, the final one, the one that bridges the gap of the story. There was like so much speculation of like, ooh, so it's like, okay, so he's in Afghanistan in like the mid 80s, and in the timeline this takes place, so we'll be able to meet this character, and we'll see Gray Fox, and maybe he'll pick up like a young sniper wolf too, and maybe that's like who Quiet is, and maybe like maybe this kid is supposed to be Gray Fox right here, and then maybe he's going to do this and this and this and this, and this is how he turns evil. And then like when none of that stuff happened, people were like, wait,
what the fudge, Kojima? What the fudge?
Yeah, it's like, what a letdown. The story is so inconsequential because it didn't have all of my favorite characters in it.
So yeah, like I don't know. I just like going back to the main point. Like America has this sort of weird fetishization with like big, strong action and not doing the long-term work.
Right.
And it's just like you have to. You can't. You can't just do the short stick. The short end of the stick stuff, and say, oh, I did the big thing. Let's go home. I'll call it a day. It's like, no. You have to teach the man how to fish. You can't just buy him the fish, give him a fishing rod, and then say, I taught you how to fish, dude. You're good. You're on your own.
Or you don't teach the man to fish, and now you have double the amount of fishes to choose from.
So, yeah.
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 Anyway, besides Black Panther being excellent, anything else interesting happened the past few days?
I'm gonna call out Nialgas for doing his doing some sketches that he needs to get done. You can't be teasing me, Nialgas. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I can't link it directly here for content reasons.
Right.
But Nialgas knows what I'm talking about. Just saying. Also, if I'm putting too much pressure on you, then I will back off. But you can't tease me like that, man. You can't tease me like that.
I've been so behind in productivity.
Oh, you want me? You and me both. This strip is actually a week late. I'm hoping to catch up this weekend with like and do 5 strips at once. That never happens.
Yeah.
But I'd like to pretend.
Yeah. Like I've been like writing stuff down and like brainstorming things, but it's kind of like there's some stuff that I actually like need to do. Like I started streaming on my own Twitch channel, so I'm like, oh, I should probably work on like icons and stuff like that. And, like,
I saw that.
Images.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, should probably like work on like looking into things that I need. And then like I had a friend who like sent me a script for a play that she wanted me to like read through and like actually like give feedback on. But it's like I need to like actually like it's 65 pages, so I do need to like go through and take the time to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why like I haven't been as crazy active on Skipping Friends. Wajujava. Happy noises just happened. Whoa, Quirky is hosting you with 3 viewers. Thanks, Quirky. Woo. Host dance. Meanwhile, Niaga's right. Sorry. No, I will accept the apology when the art is there. And I mean, I'm just ribbing Niaga's because I really like his art. So it's not a annoying thing. I just really like his art. Yeah. Although to be fair, I also have art things that I was supposed to do. So there, I am not one to talk. But yeah, like that's why I'm not as active on Skipping Friends legit crits as I would like to be. Which, yeah. Speaking of which, I loved your crit on that because that was actually really good. I just.
Oh. I was just saying, oh, thanks. I didn't know if I was like, if it would be rude to make a critique that long since he didn't technically ask me, but I just figured I'd throw it out there.
Well, honestly, if it's not appropriate, then I will moderate as necessary.
Okay.
Because like that's the reason why Art Gallery and Legit Crits are two separate channels. Basically, if you don't want crit, don't post it to Legit Crits.
Right.
But at the same time, in the Art Gallery, like if somebody didn't ask, don't give them crits. And the other flip to that is that also you can post to the Art Gallery, but that doesn't mean that my standards for what I like about art are going to go out the window. Like I'm not one of those people where I will just like art for the sake of, oh, you made a thing, good for you, buddy.
Right.
You have to impress me on some level. There is a little bit of leeway because I don't know what people's particular art education is. So for them, it might be really good for their level.
Right.
But like if I know that you can do better, I'm just gonna be like,
Yeah. I tend to approach stuff like that, like, especially if they are, like, directly asking for critique, like, this is how I tried to write the one today, where it's, like, I want to be, like, honest, but, like, not discouraging.
That's always the hard part, too.
Yeah.
Because there's also people who get off on being discouraging. Or rather, being cynical. And they don't realize that they're doing it until, like, the person that they're doing it to expresses it in a way that they just can't. That is like, I didn't know I hurt you that badly. So that's actually the hard part of teaching too.
Right.
Like and it was actually kind of frustrating today because I was watching a tutorial on making motion. Oh, I'm gonna vent about this. This is a venting topic. This is a venting topic so bad. So I was somebody was I was on a Facebook group and somebody was asking, hey, so I make tutorials for motion comics. Does anybody want to see? And I'm like, or rather, making motion comics in Photoshop. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be nurturing. Hit me with your tutorial. And the tutorial was basically, so the first 5 minutes of the tutorial was updates. And I'm like, dude, my dude. If I'm coming from this tutorial from like 3 weeks later, I don't care about your updates. You put that stuff at the end after I've gotten what I want from you. Like if this was your Patreon, okay, fine. If this was your Facebook page, okay, fine. This is a video. So no, you don't put your updates at the beginning of the video. Then the next thing was just basically, so he started off with a JPEG, which is for me is an immediate warning sign, because he basically what he said he had to do was he had to cut out the part that was going to be animated, and then fill in the blanks from what was left over. And I was like, why is it not already cut out? And apparently his reasoning was that his artist lives in Spain and was doing it traditionally. And so he didn't and he even mentioned it specifically. I could pay him more. I mean, I could get them separated if I wanted to. It would just cost more. And I'm just like, dude. Let's ignore the skeeviness inherent in such a statement. Of, oh, I just didn't want to pay for it. Pay for it to be formatted properly. Let's ignore that for a hot minute. If you knew it was going to be animated, why didn't you storyboard it? Like, because the thing is that with motion comics, yeah, you can't storyboard everything, or rather, you can't approach it the way you would traditional.
Right.
Like you like there's certain things that are just not going to work, aspect ratios, all that jazz. But there are certain things that do not change from medium to medium. Storyboarding and proper planning is one of those things. So if you knew it was going to be animated, why did you not storyboard it out so you could have those elements separated? Also, why would you assume that whoever's doing the motion comic is doing it from the perspective of somebody who's already got a JPEG? Because if it was me, I would flatten my and I was taking this tutorial seriously, I would flatten my JPEG and then cut it out, because in no way in fudge would I yeah, it's a proper looking tongue. No way in fudge would I have it all on the same layer as I'm working on it. I mean, heck, even what I'm doing right now, where the background is going to be just straight black and you can barely see this person's face.
Right.
This is still a separate element. In fact, this is an element inside of itself. So when I go to do these in After Effects, I don't have to worry about oh no, these are not separated. Because they are. Speaking of which, why would you do a motion comic in Photoshop? And the reason,
yeah, it's kind of a weird choice.
Like, because the thing, my logic is, especially in 2018 with this Creative Cloud subscription, either now it's very likely that you don't have enough money for the entire suite and you're just paying for Photoshop. If you're considering doing motion comics, you probably have enough money for the entire suite.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain point I can kind of get it, because there always is, I guess, that desire to try to do something with what you have, or like to try to be a little bit kind of ambitious, and especially like you said, if you don't have the money for like the full suite, or like to get like an animator or a flash or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of one of those where it's like a really weird choice, because you're kind of making it needlessly hard for yourself.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Like, it's like when you can find tutorials of people saying, "Hey, here's how you make animation in Windows Movie Maker." And I know that because I used to actually make animation in Windows Movie Maker, so I looked up a lot of those videos.
I feel that. And I was like, and the other issue for me is that, like, if you ever, like, there's been requests for a SkipperWing. Nialgas writes, motion comic tutorial prerequisite must be a master of the magic wand. Yep.
Yep.
And the thing is that, like, there's been requests for a SkipperWing animation tutorial. But the thing is that I don't have the time to do it justice. I would very much love to, but I don't have the time to do everything as much justice as it needs to be done. For example, like, I always tell my students, like, because I'm teaching this emerging tech class, if you're going to do a tutorial, you have to assume nothing. Or rather, you have to assume that whoever's coming to you for the tutorial knows nothing.
Right.
Like, you can't just automatically use your hotkeys, because you don't know if they already know it.
Right.
I have somebody who wants to do comparisons work for like, compare their character style to My Little Pony. I'm like, and I interrupted them immediately, going, okay, what's My Little Pony? And he's like, I'm like, no. You have to assume I do not know.
Right.
Like,
and kind of. Oh, sorry. And then kind of one of the problems that you have with doing like tutorials like that is that if you don't narrow it down, you're just teaching a class.
Yeah, which, I mean, some people are.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you are doing like an online class or like a series, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like if you're doing an animation tutorial, it's like, okay, well, what part of animation? Like, I'm not an animation expert, but it's not as simple as just saying, okay, here's how you animate. It's
like here's the basic layout. Then here's the thing that we're specifically what we're gonna do, and then here's how we do that.
Right.
And it's just like there's so many tutorials online where it's just basically, oh, I'm just gonna do a process of how I do what I do. Not helpful. Just not helpful. So that set me off, and part of the reason why I'm venting about it is that I also recognize that simply going onto the Facebook page and critiquing his tutorial is not really great practice.
Right.
Like the best thing you can do is just sort of let that go.
Oh. I was just gonna go back to a previous topic.
Oh, go for it.
No, it's just kind of what you were saying earlier, how when you're giving critique, it's easy to just kind of get obsessed with the cynicism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do know this because I will admit, I try not to, like, fall into it, but it's like, back in high school, and then especially kind of into college and stuff like that, like, I was the writing guy at school and stuff like that. Like, I wrote essays and stuff, and I wrote, like, a lot of my papers. So, like, people would, like, come to me, or, like, we do, like, those in-class critiques and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really easy to, like, get into that cynicism. Like, oh, you made this mistake? Like, oh, you did this?
Well, that's
amateur.
Well, and that's the hard thing about critique is that the positives the reason why it's so easy to do negatives is that negatives are, like, easy to point out. With positives, it's like, okay, how do I get specific about this? And that's always the hardest part of it, especially since the positives we readily admit are subjective, whereas the negatives, I'm like, well, no, we have rules about why that's not the way it is.
Yeah, and when I did my college class and stuff for writing, like we were like critiquing everyone's essays. Like we actually had to go around critique everyone's thing, and he made the rule that you had to pretty much do the compliment sandwich.
I hate that.
Yeah, I kind of hate it too, but it's like, you have to do a positive, then a ruined thing for like improvement, and then another positive. And I usually try to stick with that, except for there was one paper where I didn't. I didn't, but I'm fine with it. Okay, can I explain this?
Go for it.
So the topic, we had two paper topics for that semester. The first one was basic, it was food.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty low-key. The second one was controversies/conspiracies.
Oh, God.
And
I can see this going wrong so much.
He did ban the Holocaust from being mentioned, which is good.
Yeah, because I would
have left.
Yeah.
And some of them were fun. Some of them were like nice and like innocent and stuff like that. Like like not really innocent, but like I did a paper on the lizard people conspiracy because I was like, this sounds hilarious, and I think more people should know about it.
So what did this other person write?
There was one person. Actually, there were 2 or 3 people in the class who wrote 9/11 conspiracy papers.
Oh, honey, no.
And there was one that I just couldn't take it.
Wait, we were supposed did they actually believe it?
They wrote it as if they did.
Oh.
Because like the thing is, we were supposed to write it like neutral and like bias free, like as much as possible.
Oh no.
And like I tried to do that, but like I still, honestly, the way you frame, the way you use your quote evidence, kind of does it. It's like, so for me, like I was like showing evidence for the lizard people theory, but it's still very much like
tongue-in-cheek.
Hey, come on, guys. Like, what if I'm a lizard person?
Ooh. You don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, would explain a lot of your puns.
It would. But I guess it just depends to like the total scale of my puns, really.
Mm-hmm. Shut up, James. I just got that. I hate you.
Anyway, so it's like they were rating it with like just the evidence towards like 9/11 was a conspiracy, but none of the actual disapproval of the evidence.
Ooh.
And like I was like, look, dude, I even like wrote this down, like, because it was supposed to be a paragraph. I wrote him a page of critique, and I was like, dude, I looked this all up. Like, this took me less than 5 minutes to look up, and I found it from like official websites, like not like just like, you know, seekthetruth.org, or like legit like science websites.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, here's like this took 5 minutes. Here's evidence of like against steel beam stuff. I don't want to get super into it. But yeah, it got pretty heated. He and I did not get along after that.
I can imagine. Well, to be fair, this was also one of the back in the time where where we all thought we could just like, it's just a difference of opinion and not, you know, my ability to function as a human being.
Yeah, this was 2016 though.
Oh gosh, your professor should have known better.
My professor was from New York. He was in New York when it happened.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Your professor should still have known better.
Yeah, he really should have. He was a great professor. I also had there was one of the students there whose dad was actually a firefighter in New York when it happened. So he was a
Let's say again?
There was another student in there whose dad was a firefighter in New York during September 11th.
Yeah, how did this professor not think this was a bad idea?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure once he got everyone's topics in that he thought it was a bad idea. But he went with it anyway, and then like we moved on to that to like Rockwall aliens, and I'm like, this was a really weird disconnect.
Well, probably because he kind of knew that was just gonna not end well.
Yeah.
Like there's certain topics where I'm in a class where I'm just like, I can't. Like, I wish I could. Like, I remember last year, I got in trouble with the administration for making a joke about discouraging students from voting for Donald Trump. I'm like, I can't believe that's something I can get in trouble for.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I remember the day of the election. It was like the day of, so it was like before the results came in. I was taking this sci-fi literature class where we were like analyzing sci-fi short stories, and the one we had assigned that day was A Sound of Thunder.
Ooh.
Do you know that one, Ray Bradbury?
No.
That's you probably like know the premise of it. It's one of those where it's like, it's the future, and like they go back in time to hang with dinosaurs, but then the one dude steps on a butterfly, and like
all human history
time changes. And one of the main things of like time changing in like the new timeline was like the old one. Like, the original timeline was this one presidential candidate that not a lot of people really liked, but was, like, really good on policy. And, like, really smart. While the other person was, like, the strong man, energetic, rile him up, bash him in the head, make the country great again sort of politician. And, like, the whole thing is, like, they changed time, and that
election.
And that election went to the strong man instead. And our teacher just looked at us and was like, look, you can make a comparison to modern politics. I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, and he walked away.
I totally feel that. But, actually, the point of this wasn't about getting critical, it's just critique. Like, I don't know, I find that the people who are going to make it under tough love.
Right.
Like, not under, you did your best, buddy. Like, I think after a certain point in your life, you have to Corky writes, the pun police does not approve. So, you are under notice, Gabes.
Okay, well...
I don't actually know
if I get arrested by the pun police, let me know what's my punishment.
Corky, you set yourself up for that. I want to be mad, but I want to see Corky's reaction. But, I think that there really is a very fine balance. You can't go in using the justification of tough love for everything.
Right.
But the flip to that is that you don't get a cookie from me just for doing the assignment.
Right.
You want that cookie, you have to do it well. You want that praise, you have to do it well.
Right.
You don't just get it just because you did it.
Right.
It's a person. In the Discord.
The pun police does not approve.
Uh-oh! The pun police is in the chat!
Pun so bad that it actually got Quirky in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
Run, Gabe! Run for your life! Oh, wow, Gabe did run for his life. And is back, apparently. What was that about? I didn't think Corky was...
You told me to run.
Oh. Shut up, Gabes.
Oh my god.
How are you doing tonight, Quarky?
I'm doing fine, but I just gotta finish up this little project. It's just that Gabe's little comment made me come to the Discord.
I feel flattered and honored.
You should be fair. You should feel afraid. Feel very afraid.
You've incurred the wrath of a very small, angry being, and I dislike puns.
Yes, so angry, left an angry and then came into the chat.
Comments like that make me wish that you had like the text-to-speech system set up for comments.
That would have been, yeah. That is unfortunately beyond my capabilities. But that's the moment. You can never say whatever you want to say about the skip stream. The co-host crew is never boring.
That's true.
Especially when they're not Jiggy. That's gonna be my favorite running joke is, because for a while this joke is probably a little bit dead now. Now that more people are joining the co-host crew. For the longest time, the only source of estrogen in the co-host crew was Jiggy. So whenever somebody who wasn't Jiggy would sign in, somebody in the chat would mistake them for being Jiggy. Who is not here right now because I think she is either bowling or I actually don't know what Jiggy's up to tonight. But
let's hope she's bowling. That sounds fun.
Well, no, she was bowling yesterday.
She bowled 2 days in a row. That sounds like even more fun.
Yeah. It's weird how adulthood is one of those things where you when you think all the time I'm gonna do the thing when I grow up, and then you don't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
There is a bowling alley up the road from where I live, and I have enough money that I could probably go bowling every night if I really wanted to. I just have a comic book that I want to become very, very famous.
Yeah, same. There's a bowling alley literally not even 5 minutes from my house. It's a 2-minute drive and a 5-minute walk from my house. I have never gone.
It's funny because I used to get taken there as a kid all the time.
Yeah.
But now I'm just eh.
Yeah. It's kind of I realized, what was it? It was a couple months ago, and I was birthday cakes aren't that expensive. If I wanted to, I could buy birthday cakes for myself all the time, because, that's the childhood dream.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I get to party all the time. It's I technically could have a children's birthday party all the time. I could go bowling and buy myself a cake, but why don't I?
In fact, that was the thing I used to do all the time when I was younger, is I would buy myself a slice of chocolate cake from college. Every day, they knew me as a chocolate cake guy. But, as I got older, I'm okay, this is too sweet for me. It's putting a massive dent in my dental bill. And I don't want diabetes anytime soon.
Yeah,
So,
that was me, but with Popeyes.
Oh, I never gave up Popeyes. Never gave it up.
That's like the one thing I miss about being in Louisiana was like their Popeyes were the bomb.
Well, because that's where it was from.
Yeah, and it's so weird because I can't really explain it because it's not like a real discernible, easy to describe taste, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, they use like this totally different type of breading. It's like, no, it's still the same food. It just tastes better. I don't know why.
I feel that. I feel that. But, yeah, like, you just, as an adult, you're just like, I don't want to do the thing that I promised I would do as a kid. Like, I think the only thing I still do from that is, like, every so once in a while, I'll pick up a tube of chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'll just never bake it. I'll just eat it straight from the tube, and I'll just, like, whatever. That or...
Oh, no, you can go.
Say that or pick up a cone of ice cream. Like, that's my addiction. It's like, and it's not even like I'll buy a tub of ice cream so I can sit in Netflix and chill. Like, I'll just buy myself a cone of ice cream, eat the entire thing on the way home, and then lie that I didn't go there because I don't want my niece to know that I can get ice cream whenever I want.
Yeah.
Like,
there is one thing I do for myself that, like, kid me always really wanted to do, which is, like, do things on a release date. Like, I don't know your childhood and stuff, but I was, like, one of those who, like, didn't go to see movies the day or, like, the weekend it came out. It was always, like, 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, you know what I mean? Or maybe not even see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, either my parents just didn't want to take me, or we didn't have the time, or, like, they didn't have the crowd. Now it's, like, I can go see Black Panther, like, Thursday night. Like,
yeah!
showing and be like, haha, take that 9-year-old me who would have had to wait a month for this.
Yeah. Doombot writes, party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. I know those are lyrics from something. I just don't know what it is.
The Eddie Murphy song?
Probably. I don't know the Eddie Murphy song.
It's from his brief stint in the 80s as a musician. He tried to make, like, he worked with Rick James and Stevie Wonder.
Well, more power to him, I guess.
It's really bad.
I can imagine. Well, to be fair, like, I think that was a thing with a lot of, and it still really is actually still a bit of a thing, where artists think that they can just transition from one to the other. I mean, heck, you get it in animation too. Like, my favorite thing, how I know that somebody is new to animation is when they're still counting how many frames are in their animation.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, by that logic, I've animated 1,000,000 frames.
Right.
It's like, well, wait, half of those didn't even move. Yes, because I'm smart. But,
I do think the one kind of difference between, like, the olden times when, like, actors, like TV or movie actors would try to become musicians compared to, like, now, or, like, that cross-genre thing, is that it used to feel that, like, it was just publicity and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, of course Randy Savage is going to release a rap album.
What?
Yes, that happened.
I don't trust you.
He has a Hulk Hogan diss track where he brags about his role in Spider-Man.
I have to look this up because I do not believe you.
I'll link it in the Discord.
Sorry, I have to, wait, there's cat hair on my mouse, so it's not working. I'm looking this up. Randy Savage, music.
I posted it in the Discord, if you...
Oh, God. Also, I just learned his name is Randy Mario Poffo.
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
Which seems weird.
Oh, wow, that is a... oh, wow. That is a thing. Also, it's funny, Quirky posted in the chat about how Hyper Potions was at Katsu, and that was like the one year I'm just like, nope, I'm not going. I am not paying $70 for a single day. And I'm seeing this like the day of Katsu, I'm like, oh. I'm sorry, Quirky.
Yeah, I dropped $170 for a concert ticket Saturday night, so
Well, that's different.
yeah.
Like my problem with Katsu is that like, it's not so much Katsu itself, but mostly anime conventions in general. This whole idea of, oh, you have to spend $70 on the entire for the entire weekend.
Right.
You can't go a single day and pay $35. You can't go 2 days and pay 90, 100, $70. You have to pay $70 for the entire thing, and if you only decide on going one day, well, that's still $70. And I'm like, I'm also going $70 so that I can spend money on Artist Alley. So before I can even start spending money, I have to drop money.
Right.
And that's just like, why?
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, the only anime convention I've been to is A-Con, but they let you pay by the day. And
Well, what also irked me about anime conventions is that I remember I was tabling for NekoCon last year, and when I got there, I'm like, I don't have a badge, and we ran around for a half hour trying to get me a badge before I found out, and as they explained to me, I had to buy the badge separate from the table.
what?
Yeah. Basically, I had paid for a table that I couldn't sit at because I hadn't bought a badge to go sit to be able to get into Artist Alley.
Right.
Doombot writes, we definitely played some of those Macho Man songs in the grad lab. I guess you missed it. Well, I had it, like, remember, I was a big headphone freak, so there was that.
I'm just imagining, like, everyone in the lab where it's like, they're all listening to Macho Man Randy Savage songs, and, like, you have headphones on, you're listening to, like, the Sonic Adventure soundtrack.
That's probably exactly what happened. That is probably exactly what happened.
But no, before we got onto a Macho Man Randy Savage tangent, what I was saying is, like, the difference between that is, like, not to disgrace the artistic talents of Randy Savage or Eddie Murphy, but it's like, that's publicity rather than anything, where it's like, nowadays if you see artists crossover and try to do stuff, it's usually like, oh, because they actually do maybe have some ambition towards that. Like, Donald Glover doesn't need to do Childish Gambino, he's fine. He just does it because he really likes doing music.
Well, also, like, there's a sort of crossover with a lot of these people where it's like they are multi-talented, and like before the tools didn't used to exist for you to be multi-talented.
Right.
But now they're just like, yeah, you can pretty much do that. Like that's pretty much where I am with in terms of comics and animation and illustration and all that jazz.
Right.
Where it's like, oh yes, I can if it involves pictures, I can do it. I'm not proud to say I can do everything. I'm not just as a humility thing, like I can do character design if you really want me to. I just don't like doing character design because I don't like drawing things 5 times over. I'm like, I got it on the first take. How do you know you got it on the first? Just check it out. Oh, you did. But I want to see 10 more takes just to be sure. Yeah, no, I'm not a character designer. Like the tools exist now, but now it's just it's just sort of this weird thing of I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like,
yeah, it's like, why not just throw it up on your social media account? Who cares?
It's like, Justin, no, you can't do hip hop and then decide that you're never going, and then you decide you're gonna be a mountain man. Don't pull a Miley where like black culture is cool until it's not, or rather until you grow up.
Oh, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Like, so I listened to, like, I guess it's not his newest song, but, you know, it's the lead single from his new album, Filthy.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it for the first time yesterday because Tom the Shadows did his review of it. And so I was listening to it, and I was like, boy, this kind of sounds like Yeezus, but, like, worse and not in a good way. It's like he listened to Yeezus and was like, I want to make something that experimental and that minimalistic. But it's like, didn't have any of the actual ambition that Yeezus has.
Well, that's the sort of wait, and by Yeezus you mean Kanye West, yes?
Yeah, specifically the album Yeezus.
Okay, cool. Because I was just like, please tell me somebody didn't call themselves Yeezus who was not Kanye West.
No. I'm talking specifically the album Yeezus, where he does try to do like a lot of really experimental, minimalistic stuff. It's like it works there, but then you get into like Kanye, like not Kanye West, but Justin Timberlake territory, where it's like, okay, what am I listening to? And like, these lyrics are nonsense, and it's like, oh, now there's electric guitars. I feel like I made this song just playing around with like loops in GarageBand.
Well, if you're not good at it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also similar to the sort of the writing troubles I think Marvel's been having too. Where Marvel will bring in a famed author to write their comics. And it's like, pacing is different for comics. I do get the diversity higher. I appreciate the diversity higher. But writing for comics is different than writing a book. Or
also,
writing prose.
Well, didn't you see that they hired an Asian CEO recently?
Marvel?
Yeah.
No.
Before you look it up, this is a joke because their new CEO is a white guy who wrote.
Oh, right.
Asian name.
Yes. Akira Yoshida. I remember him.
Yeah.
That was very irritating.
Yeah, that was really frustrating to watch. Oh,
like,
don't worry. This Marvel relaunch is really gonna save things.
Good. On the plus side, Moon Girl is getting a TV series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur are getting an animated TV series.
Oh, that's cool.
Executive produced by Lawrence Fishburne.
Nice.
My only problem is that Marvel animation has kind of not been good.
Right.
For a while now.
Yeah.
And this is also the same company that still thinks that, Peter Parker is old enough to be called Spider-Man, but Miles Morales is too young to be anything other than Kid Arachnid.
Which is dumb. That's dumb.
That's very dumb.
Does Jeff Loeb still oversee their cartoon development?
Probably. I know he kind of has to since Bendis isn't there anymore.
Yeah. Because I remember... I don't know if you ever watched Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Bits and pieces of it, yeah.
Surprisingly decent.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like something I'm gonna, like, run to someone on the street and be like, oh my gosh, you have to watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But it's like, yeah, this is good. It has a lot of really interesting characters, and they're doing some cool plot stuff, and yeah, I can dig this. And then they canceled it, and they're like, Jeff Loeb was like, well, that's because kids don't care about ongoing continuity stuff. Which, no.
You worked in comics! Your entire thing was ongoing continuity stuff! How do you not get this?
Yeah, like pretty much all the really successful superhero cartoons have some form of ongoing continuity as part of their appeal, don't they? Like, or am I just going insane? Because I thought that was always the appeal of Teen Titans.
It was for me.
Was that like, it wasn't just like, oh hey, they're fighting this guy this week, but it's like, oh no, wait, they have like an actual villain that takes up the whole season and story arcs.
Well, like superhero comics have this weird problem of not comics, but like cartoons have this weird problem of, let's animate this as cheaply as possible. And I really hate to use that term because usually it's used by people who don't actually understand the process of making animation. So what's usually cheap in their mind is usually, okay, yes, it's a budget-saving measure, but it's also very smart, and you don't have the know-how to appreciate it. With the Marvel shows post Earth's Mightiest Heroes and post Spectacular Spider-Man, it's become this thing of, holy crap, this is really cheap.
It's like, wow, this Newgrounds cartoon looks really good.
Yeah, and it's like, even from a storytelling perspective, I'm like, look, I know Spidey's supposed to be chatty. He's not that chatty. He's supposed to be annoying to anybody he has to fight, not anybody who has to listen to him for an extended period.
Is everything okay over there?
That's an interesting question, Corky.
Yes, I'm okay, because I finally got out of the building I've been stuck in for 6 hours.
Oh, nice.
You see, normal people call that their house. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, that wasn't even a bad joke. That was just a bad statement. Corky?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, did we lose you?
Partially, because I'm walking...
Okay, now we did lose her. Oh, she's back.
And not dead.
I'm partially dying.
That's bad.
Because now it's cold, and I only had 2 jackets. At least it isn't raining, because it's been raining.
You say that, and then... Well, luckily for you, this isn't a Disney Channel original comedy, because then it would start raining.
It would start pouring, but honestly, it smells like rain, so it's probably about to open up.
Well, just make sure you don't start marching. Because if you start marching, then you risk people raining on your parade.
You knew that was coming.
I like a good pun, but this is very torturous.
I'm sorry.
See, I was gonna go with something about singing in the rain, but I like yours better, Gabes.
Oh, thanks. I bought that movie like 6 months ago. I still haven't watched it yet.
What, Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I finally bought my own copy.
I just love the story of how that movie got made.
It's one of those really interesting...
How the heck did this happen sort of things.
Yeah. Well, it's also, it fulfills my, like, you know, love of weird, self-love, Hollywood making movies about Hollywood making movies.
I feel that.
I don't know why I like that genre. I know a lot of people hate it, but...
Yeah, that's kind of partly why I couldn't get into La La Land.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen La La Land.
It's worth a watch. I'd say I like it a lot, but I totally get why people don't.
Like, I could see myself, like, appreciating it at most. Like, going, oh, this is why this is, oh, they're really good in this. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are really good in this. But it's also one of those things where it's like, I know how this works. I've tried to get into how that works. It doesn't work like that. Screw you for trying to sell me on the fancy that it's that easy. Like, I don't know. I don't have a... For me, I don't like easy wish fulfillment anymore. Like, the world is too broken for that for me. It's like, oh no, you didn't make your audition and now you have to move back home. Screw you, person who has a loving family who doesn't have to worry about, like, bills or blah, 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 blah. Or even, like,
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Just gonna... that's always kind of the one thing... I do love his other movie, Whiplash, as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually like it more than La La Land. But the thing is that, like, it is funny that you mentioned that, because even in Whiplash, like... Have you seen Whiplash?
Nah.
So, like, even when the character's, like, at his lowest point, like, when he gets kicked out of, like, music school and stuff like that, and, like, doesn't think he can be a drummer anymore.
Is that the one like, with Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons?
Yes.
Heard of it, never seen it.
It is actually legit, like, really great.
I just, like, I'm just used to thinking of J.K. Simmons as my fandom dad, and, like, among others, and so I also don't like Miles Teller. Rather, well, it's not so much I don't like Miles Teller as I don't like the roles he gets picked to be in.
I think you might like him, and it depends on the type of roles you think that he usually gets cast in. Here, he's really good, but because it's, like, he's supposed to be not a pleasant person.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like him.
Like, yeah.
Like, I'm already looking forward to hating Ready Player One.
Oh well, I'm totally on board with hating Ready Player One. I will hate that all day.
But Whiplash.
But yeah, the thing with Whiplash is that even when the character is supposed to be at his lowest point, it's like, yes, well, here's his dad helping him move into his own apartment, and here's him working at a cashier job, and like his dad's helping stock up the pantry. I'm like, oh. I mean, this is technically the lowest moment for the character because he doesn't want a simple life. But it's like,
screw you! You have a life.
You're doing okay.
Well, that's sort of my problem with a lot of American media.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's so myopic.
Right.
Like, it's a problem I have with, like, the way that Marvel Comics is usually written. Like, oh my god, or, no, like, DC Comics, actually, for me, bring this back to Batman again. The idea that Gotham City is the most important city in the entire world. Like, no. I'm sorry, the world is not that small. Get your heads out of your collective butts, DC fans, and like try and imagine a world that's slightly bigger than the American Midwest.
Right. Sorry, can I go back to Whiplash for a second?
Sure.
So like this is why I'm kind of interested, like, in you, like, maybe eventually watching it, because I almost look at like it and La La Land as like companion pieces on like the sliding scale of cynicism.
Optimism?
Yeah, I guess optimism would probably be a better word, but like La La Land is very much in the optimist sort of realm, since they both deal with like people trying to achieve like these great dreams. La La Land is like in the like, oh, if you want it, just keep going for it and you're eventually gonna get it. Just like stay positive, stay out there. While Whiplash is like, look, you're gonna bleed, you're going to be tortured, like you are not going to have fun. And by the end of it, you might have to abandon everyone else that you love if you really want to achieve your dream.
Dang, that's dark.
It is dark. The ending of that movie is like, I don't want to spoil it, but the ending of that movie is like one of those where it's like technically a victory, but you're like,
was it worth it? Was it? Yeah. Well, and the reason why I like, because the thing is, like, I'm totally down for wish fulfillment.
You're right.
Like, Black Panther is wish fulfillment. Even if it's not, like, it's very ambiguous about who it's wish fulfillment for.
Right.
Because there's an argument to be made that Wakanda forever, Doombot says, I have decided to, Doombot writes, Miles Teller is apparently not very pleasant in general, and I've decided to power through Ready Player One. Like, my favorite example of this is the harem genre well, actually, let me finish my thought on this. So, like even though, like, Wakanda is basically saying, yeah, when we say we're Wakanda forever, we're also not talking about African Americans. I'm like, but, like, this movie is very much fan service for black people. Let me have that. But at the same time, it's very much earned in how T'Challa deals with Killmonger. And I'm not going to spoil how that plays out. Like, it's not an easy win to show off how awesome T'Challa is. Like, he has to, not only does he have to earn the right to be the Black Panther, like, several times throughout the movie, but the nation of Wakanda has to justify why they are the protagonists several times throughout the movie.
Right.
Same thing with, like, it's why I like the Captain America movies. Like, he has to justify continually, oh, yeah, this is the right dude to give the serum to.
Right.
But I don't like easy things like my favorite example of the easy wish fulfillment is the harem genre in Japanese manga. I.e., this ridiculously average and boring dude gets to live with 5 or 6 hot women, and because one of them decided that he was nice to her, keyword like nice guy nice. Suddenly, all of these women want his private parts, and I'm like, I mean, with the idea being that whoever the quote unquote lucky dude is, being an audience surrogate for the audience person who the fanboy who doesn't know how women work, and thinks that that's how romance should be because that's how he'd like it to work for him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I am a legitimately nice person. I don't have any aspirations of like getting together with any of my female friends, just because I am nice to them. That's not an entitlement that I have or deserve. I'm sorry that like you think I am that pathetic. I am not that pathetic. So screw you, harem genre. Maybe I might watch. I might watch it. I might pop in every so 5 or so 6 seconds, to check out the art. But I am not going to be defending you.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Love Hina is an anime classic, but I get your complaints.
Well, like even then, like Keitaro had to work. One, he literally wasn't actually attracted to any of the girls except for Naru at the end, and he didn't want to be there either.
Yeah,
that's something that.
Same with like the authors. I think she also did Nejima, however you pronounced it.
Oh yeah, Negima.
Yeah.
Where, and it's funny because even with that one, like he doesn't get together with any of the girls in the end. Not only that, but you have to read the sequel series to find out who he gets together with. And he doesn't actually get together with that person either.
Right.
And it's also actually explicitly because he's 10 years old when he makes this love confession.
Though this does kind of cause, I don't know if I prefer it to the, like, character as a massive pervert sort of storytelling.
Oh, I hate that.
I hate that, but it's also really kind of interesting, if not outright weird, that there's like this huge subsection of what's clearly like sort of fan service stories, where the like male insert character is like not really all that interested in the fan service like at all.
Well, because everybody's trying to be subversive. Like everybody follows the pervert route because that's how it was done in Yurusei Yatsura.
Right.
Where Ataru was this massive pervert. The thing to remember with that, though, is that none of the other women appreciated that except for Lum. And he wasn't interested in Lum.
Right.
That was a joke there.
Oh, no. It was just like... That was one of the things, like... I remember back when I was in middle school and picked up Deers. I don't know if anyone else ever looked up Deers.
Dear S?
Yeah, Dear S.
I mean, I know, I'm pretty sure it's actually Deers, but I'm just gonna say Dear S.
But, like, that was one of the weird things, was, like, every page of that has some weird fan service-y moment that's clearly intended to, like, be for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the dudes are all like, eh.
Well, either
this
that...
is really bad. This is awkward.
Well, either that, or it's the girl who is the guy's idea of what a pervert is.
Right.
Like, cause I've known horny women. I've known perverted women. They're not like that. They are in manga.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's not like, oh, did you like watching my panties? It's like, no, that's not what they're thinking of. They're thinking, oh my god, those two dudes making out, that'd be so hot. And if they took off their shirts, that'd be even hotter. And you know what? Screw you, boyfriend, friends who are boys. I'm gonna go hang out with the hotties over there.
I think that's why I always really like a Fruits Basket or an high school host club for at least being honest.
It's like, yes, that's how that works. It's not like, oh, would it be sexy if I took off my bra? You'd like that, wouldn't you, pervert? And it's like, no, I mean, yes, I would like that, but I also would like an actual woman, not a insert for the author.
Right. Speaking of pervert manga, do you keep up with Berserk?
No.
Oh.
It's taking too long.
Well, I was just wondering because I'm not gonna like spoil anything if no one wants me to.
Mm-hmm.
But the scans for the new chapter leaked today.
Oh joy!
And something really big has happened, and everyone's really happy about it.
Casca gets her memory back?
Yep.
Wait, Casca's back to normal?
Yep.
Wow, that took forever.
22 years.
That's crazy.
22 years since the finally back.
Yeah, see the problem, because my problem with Miura Sensei and Oda Sensei to a certain degree is, I'm sorry, it shouldn't take you 10 years to get to the halfway point. Like it can take you 10 years if you're in between sequel series. Like I get that if you have a series and you have a sequel series and all that jazz. I'm totally down for that there. But if it's your main series and it just takes like 10 years to get to the halfway point, I'm sorry, there's probably bits and pieces that you could have trimmed.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. I think at this point I'm in too deep. Like, I care about Berserk too much to, like, stop reading, but, like, I get where you're coming from.
Speaking of where I'm coming from, we are done for the night, actually.
Ooh.
So, yes, the Crimson Fly. No, this is not a metaphor for anxiety. I mean, whether it wasn't intended to be, anyway. But, basically, it's just an exploration of the Crimson Fly's, vibes power. So, basically, by meditating, they can extend it to, they can extend the range. Problem is that there's too much input, so it's it's sort of like when you're in a quiet room, and you can hear everything, and it's just super distracting. So that's their vibes power, but it's like dialed up to 11. So imagine like being able just to hear like every squirrel or bird chirping and reacting to that like as if the bird or squirrel is going to attack you. As ridiculous as that sounds. So they can dial it up by concentrating, but the problem is that then they got caught with the centerpiece dilemma of, okay, but how do I turn it off? And so just breathing and calming down. And it's weird because it became this weird sort of it became a metaphor for anxiety and a panic attack, but that wasn't actually the intention. So that's that for tonight's strip. And actually that's going to be it for tonight's stream because I have to wake up in 8 hours.
Nice. Have fun with that.
Yeah, well, I have to go to work, and so I did a thing. I have to do a thing. That,
have you ever thought about, like, not doing things?
I like getting paid. If I don't
show
up to work, I don't get paid. So, actually...
That is a good point.
That's the wrong screen. So let's go to transition ending, which doesn't show any of the credits at all. So that sucks. So before we dip out, I would like to thank Best Evar, Doombot KV, Electrical Skateboard, and Gabe's Cheshire for hanging out in the chat. Also, Quarky Cadet. You don't show up in viewers because you're a mod. Also, Gabe's, would you want to be a mod?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm not sure how often I'd be able to actually, like, stop by.
To be fair, that's kind of the point of having multiple mods.
That's true. Yeah, if you wanted to mod me, I totally wouldn't mind.
Cool.
I promise I wouldn't, like, ban people indiscriminately.
That's very specific.
I just want to make sure that that will not happen.
Also, actually, while you're here, I need to redeem your question. What's your opinion of Sonic Forces? Freaking lazy. I'm past being angry at it now. Like, I have it on my desk and I was gonna return it, but it's past the 7 days, so I can't return it. But right. I only paid $30 for it, so I'm not, like, losing my mind over it. Right. And I also have Sonic Mania, so it's funny because I actually
I saw one, I think it was a tweet where it was like, the bad ending of Sonic Mania is that Sonic doesn't get to go to Sonic Forces.
Yep.
Are we sure that's the bad ending?
Yep. You need to link me to that tweet so I can retweet it.
Yeah, I'd have to find it real quick, but
also, we gotta have a talk about that other tweet you sent me about comics, because that was an amazing tweet that I never got the chance to really talk to people about, but it was amazing. Yeah. So anyway, that's gonna have to be for another stream. Anyway, thank you, Quarky and Gabe Cheshire, for hanging out in the co-host crew Discord. Much appreciated. we promise. I can't make any promises about the Pun Police never returning, but I can promise that SkipperWing will return for another skip stream on Friday, February 23rd. Mostly because I don't expect the 12-hour challenge to be that awesome. Right. And so yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll catch you guys in the next skip stream. Night.